army. We have a Hulk.
Oh, I thought the Beast had wandered off.
You're missing the point. There's no throne. There is no version of this where you come out on top.
Let me infiltrate the beat, concentrate the heat. If you ain't on my level, fuck it, let me be. I'll be going till it's all in motion, talking killing rappers, then I hit my quota. And my train of thought is more a locomotive, talking reason for it, I got locomotives. Used to be on a revenge tip, on a stun on my ex and a friend's tip. I was Spider-Man whipping the black suit, I was powerful but almost lost Luke. Blurring the line between human and artist, try not to change but I swear it's the hardest. I swear when you're up they turn you to a target. Home was a trip, all I did when I'm talking. So, what it take to be an icon? All in your desktop, so I just might already be one. My me with the label, it feels on the table one time, but I'm down for a free lunch. Just speaking my heat-seeking missiles of hits, but other than me, I see no heat exists. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green, go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me, know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee, Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a Cold War, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. Get the fuck back, I'm about to go green. I might begin making a feature Iraq. Cause when I hit your beat, I turn shit to Iraq. Dropping bombs like I'm cursing you out. This your house, then I'm kicking you out. Quiet as a mouse, came in the game, now the word is out that I've been lighting the flame. Shit is potent, don't you know it? I've been flowing, steady growing till they know the name. Saw it ahead of time, knew that I'd get to my losing myself in the view to some window pane. I swear I'm all about peace, I'm a positive person. Wasn't always like that, you know it took me some learning. They asked me how I push a positive light, how I keep my composure through internal fights when addressing the mic through these dark nights. Where the Bruce Wayne, what a trick me. Here's some truth that I'll let free, Bruce Banner of rap if you ask me. When my will to win and the track meet, the secret is I'm always angry. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green, go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me, know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee, Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a Cold War, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. I'm about to go, I'm about to go green. Get the fuck back, I'm about to go green.
Hey y'all, thank you guys for being here. I'm about to go green. If I ever look crazy when I'm sitting here on cam, it's because I'm watching my own reflection in my video on my OBS, on my other monitor. I apologize. Somebody told me I had crazy eyes during the show, and it's just what I do. Sometimes I glance off to the side over here. My significant other is always sitting next to me when I do these shows. Shout out to my puppy, Ash. I was talking about Kim, but shout out to Ash for being here. And shout out to this kid, Tyreek. Wants me to watch his video. He's writing on Twitter or on TikTok. Wants me to watch his high school film review, and he's giving himself a shout out. But that's not how you get on the high school film review waiting list. But I appreciate you reaching out, man. Shout out to you for having self-confidence. I'm all about it. Trust me. I have self-belief. I'm Kanye West every day. I believe in all my videos. I get people sending me messages every day. Rico, I love your content. Love your videos. And I'm like, yeah? Me too, bro. I love them more than you love them. You guys ever looked in the mirror and been like, damn, I hope she's attracted to me? Like if you're going out to the nightclub one night and you were getting dressed and you're getting ready to go to the club with your boys, you're like, man, I hope I get lucky tonight. Oh, yeah, I hope I get lucky. Ooh, I hope she sees me tonight. I hope my ex is there, whatever. I just want to let you know I can't relate to any of that shit because I never once got ready hoping to get lucky. When I was getting ready to go out for the night, I stared at that mirror and I just thought to myself, yep, it's my night. I'm doing this. I had a different mindset. I wasn't hoping to get lucky. I was putting myself on. I was going to all the right places, believing in myself. And when I would watch a girl turn dudes down, left and right, all these guys walking up to her trying to ask her, hey, would you like to dance? Would you like to dance? Would you like to dance? I'm looking at her like, yo, she's not turning me down. I'm going for it. Now, how many times did I get turned down? I didn't keep track because the misses don't matter. All you got to do is hit one time, right? We don't care about how many times you brick, dame, right? We don't care. If you hit that game-winning three, people are going to talk about you the next day. So I'm good. I'm out here to hit the game-winning three. I'm just letting you know. So, that being said, shout out to that young man for giving himself all kinds of props. I'm with it. Today, we are going to be talking about the transfer portal. I know there's NFL playoffs. I know there's a bunch of people staring at me right now on TikTok, wondering what the hell I'm doing talking to YouTube. But it's pretty simple, guys. When I take questions, comments, concerns, anything, I don't take it from TikTok. You got to come to YouTube. I can't see the comments. They don't stay there for prolonged period of time, prolonged periods of time. but YouTube does, and I keep them on the screen for everyone to see. That's what we see here on the far left. So if you want to go to YouTube, search RicoKnows, click on the live tab. You will join the show. You can ask me any questions. Now, today I am talking linebackers. Linebackers in the transfer portal, and I want to be clear. I've already talked about 52 linebackers, and I did that in episode 1. So there is an episode 1 of the transfer portal, linebackers episode 1. Feel free to go watch it, and then you can come over here and watch for the rest of them. Now, today I'm going to get to linebackers number 78. I just looked at my chart here. I have a chart in front of me of everybody. It's the same chart you see over here on the far right here. So I'm going to get to linebacker 78 today. There's still a lot of linebackers in the transfer portal. And listen, I am talking about linebackers committed to schools, not who's available. Who's available is almost irrelevant. There's hundreds upon hundreds of linebackers available in the transfer portal. I might look at the top 10. Might. But when I sit down and assess who is signed somewhere, who's attending school somewhere, that's so much more important. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to be going over that during the show. But like I said, there's over 100 already committed. And with the second semester starting or the winter semester starting, some of these kids are enrolled. And that's how I have it sorted right now. If you go to 24/7 Sports, you can do it by position group, and then you can do it by a status. And the status, there's 3 of them. There's enrolled, committed, and uncommitted. We're looking at enrolled players first, and then we'll get to the committed list here shortly. Try to hit on everybody. I'll do my talking, but if you see a guy and I skip over him, I'm going to tell you he was in the first episode. Sometimes I forget if a guy was in the first episode and I have to go check my chart. That's how many people I covered in the first episode. So please, make sure you go back and watch the first podcast for linebackers. Now, I'm going to be doing this all offseason, and I just want to remind everyone that I will eventually start talking about the team's entire transfer portal class, assessing, their records and all this other stuff that everybody's been begging me to do. We get there, guys, but first we got to attack each position group for what it is, and that's how I learn every single player in the transfer portal is I see every single commitment, right? I don't just go to the big Power 5 teams and, Rico, can you talk about Alabama today? What about Oregon? Why haven't you talked about Michigan? Just slow down. All your favorite teams are here. You just have to pay attention. I talk about individual players on each team, and some of them are going to your favorite schools. So I'll start. Let's get it going, and then I'll go through 10 names, and I typically, after 10, I go to the chat. I read all the chat, and then I go back. Read all the chat, then I go back, okay? So let's look at these 10. So if you look at it, they're in order by their rank, according to 24/7 Sports. This order is tremendously wrong. It is not an indication of how good the player is. It is an indication of what university they went to and where 24/7 Sports had them ranked coming out of high school. I want to make this very clear. They do not demote more than 1 star. They do not promote more than 1 star, even when it's staring them blue in the face. An example would be somebody like if I could scroll down here and just show you Dermontti Jackson. Dermontti Jackson, there's nothing 4-star about him. He is at best a 3-star, right? And this is secondary players. But when you look at it, you can see these players, and you're like, what is going on? Like Devontae Brown is a bona fide Power 5 starter, starting at UCF, starting at Miami, and now he's going to Florida State. How in the hell do they have him 3 stars? It's just what they do. He's not going to the right schools that they want him to go to, okay? Or he didn't come from an SEC school. Earl Little has never played versus a guy who's been a starter for multiple years. They don't know how they're doing it. They say it's based on projection. But let me tell you guys why I don't care about how many years you have left in the transfer portal. I'm sorry, in eligibility. Because you're signing this young player. He's not going to play with you for all 3 or 4 of those years. He's going to leave. 3 or 4 years, that's what it says he has. That's just not true. He's not sticking around at your school for all those years. They're staying for 1 year and getting back in the portal. It's going to be a theme throughout the show. So we'll start with Grayson Howard. Grayson Howard, nickname is Pup, okay? Played at South Carolina, coming out of high school, 4-star recruit, really highly recruited, right, out of Jacksonville, Florida. And the thing you need to know about Pup here is he's good. He was able to get on the field, play in some games, but he's not the bee's knees right now. He's not going to be great for Florida. He might start. He might get some playing time. looks all right. But him, Shamar James, Derek Wingo, Deuce Spurlock, Jaden Robinson, that's who they are. They're all about the same. I don't see anything great. But Grayson Howard, in high school, over 100 tackles every single year. I'm talking sophomore, junior, senior year. We're talking 188 tackles his senior year. Go turn on the tape. He tackles everything. I get it. Not again. In the middle of the show. I have to constantly cough. So, what I'm trying to get at here, he was an SEC preseason All-American or SEC preseason All-Conference freshman. And then he went out and he played okay. He's 6'4", 240. He played okay. I got no beef with him. It's nice to see him jump in the portal, go back home. But is he the top player? No. Of these players listed here, Aiden Fisher had over 100 tackles this year at the collegiate level. Aiden Fisher is so much better than Grayson Howard. It's not even funny. Okay? Ethan Barr, way better than Grayson Howard. I don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand what they're doing. They just throw shit on the page and hope it sticks. E.J. Lightsey never played a dime at Georgia. Not even noteworthy. Transferring, shout out to him, going to Georgia Tech. I talked about him in the first episode. All right? Shout out to Fitzgerald, but his high school. But I don't see these rankings like this. This doesn't move me. Not impressed by these rankings. At the same time, Dorian Mossy, this is one of the worst transfers I've seen right here. Talked about it in the first episode. Going from Duke to Auburn, I don't get it. It doesn't move me, but, he's going to be a starter at Auburn. We got to rank him high. Do we? Do we? I've seen him many, many years at Duke. Do we got to rank him high? So just keep that in mind. Grayson Howard, not a bad player. The next player in here, I talked about all these guys on the first episode. Next guy is Jaden McDonald, leaving Troy, going to Indiana. Congratulations, Jaden. You're back in the Big Ten. This is a North Gwinnett linebacker. If you guys don't know, North Gwinnett, Georgia, 7A football, pretty good football. Linebackers are for real at that school. First you had Jaden, and Jaden was the defense player of the year out of Georgia coming out of high school. He was the best defender coming out of high school. And another linebacker, a couple years later, Barrett, right? Barrett Carter. Barrett Carter, Clemson. Stud. They've had back-to-back great linebackers at North Gwinnett. But for whatever reason, Jaden didn't really get on the map the way he should have. Coming out of high school, Jaden goes to Kentucky. And that's great and all, but it didn't pan out. Got injured a little bit, didn't pan out. So he goes to Troy, finally shows out this year, plays in all 13 games, led Troy in tackles. And if you guys didn't know, Troy had a really good defense. So he had 75 tackles for Troy this year, decides I'm going to go to Indiana. All right, go do your thing. Welcome back to the Big Ten. I'm excited for Indiana. I just want him to be aware. I like how good Jaden is. This transfer for me is an honorable mention top 10, meaning it's not a top 10 transfer. I have my top 10 transfer portal decisions being made, and this isn't one of them, only because I know who Indiana has coming from JMU, and I know that coach is going to favor his guys. So it's going to be one of those things where, Jaden, you made a choice. You're a good player. I just hope they utilize you accordingly, right? Hope they utilize you accordingly. Javen Hall, young guy, leaving Marshall, going to Georgia State. This is a kid who played at Roswell, Georgia. Had a ton of tackles in high school, 150-something tackles, 19 tackles for loss. Looked good on tape. Coming out of high school, though, committed to Coastal Carolina, and then committed to Marshall. No. Committed to Houston, then committed to Marshall. He's been committed to 3 different schools. This will be his 4th school he's going to. This guy can't make up his mind. All I know is he's coming back home. He's got good size. Pause. Right? Good size. No, he's the short one. My bad. Martez Thrower has good size. Javon Hall is 5'11". 5'11", 227. Not the best size. Not the best. 5'11", 227. Some girls like you medium size, but most football coaches don't. Just letting you know. Martez Thrower also going to Georgia State, and this is just proof they're going to rate Georgia State commitments equivalent. Because when Martez Thrower was going to Kentucky, they were singing his praises. But now that he couldn't play at Kentucky, got 25 tackles in the last 3 years, Now they go and knock him down a star. Now they go and say, he's okay. Right? Shout out to Wilcox County. Martez thrower played at a really low level of football here in Georgia, 1A, the lowest level you can play. But he played good. He played good. He just had no business going to Kentucky. A lot of these young kids in Georgia, they know, they only know, I want to go to the SEC. That's the best teams, the SEC. And there's no denying that the opportunity to play at the SEC is probably your ticket to the NFL. But the bench in the SEC is not your ticket to the NFL at all. So Martez going to Georgia State, Javen Hall going to Georgia State. I'm just glad that they have been realistic about their opportunity and where they're going. One thing that's really important about them is Javen Hall has 4 years left. Now, is he going to stay for all 4 years? I hope so. He hasn't stood still for 2 seconds, bro. He's been committed to 4 different schools in 2 years. I hope he figures that out. I hope that young man stays still. Okay, so that's everybody who's enrolled. Let's go look at who is committed. But I'm going to jump to the chat here. If you got a question, comment, you got to drop it in the YouTube chat. I will get to you, and then I'll get back to the list since we're going to start at the top. Here we are. We're going to start at the – oh, my God. They're saying this guy's the greatest in the portal. Tackett Curtis, top-ranked linebacker in the portal. Couldn't start at USC, but he's the top-ranked dude. Chris Paul Jr., he's okay, but he's going to Ole Miss. Tackett Curtis couldn't start at USC. This is the leading tackler at Oregon State. The leading tackler. This is hilarious. The way they do these rankings is hilarious. I just want to scroll down real quick and tell you guys. 90 tackles, Jaheim Thomas, going to Arkansas, or going to Wisconsin. Jaheim Thomas will be starting over this dude that they have number 1. Curtis Tackett, no. Oh, gross. Starting linebackers down here, bro. But, hey, Bengali, been starting at Pitt for 2 years. Curtis Tackett could never. I could go down this whole list and embarrass these dudes. Keshawn Elliott, 100-something tackles this year. Oh, my God. Curtis Tackett, bro. Number 1, my ass. All right, let's go. So, chat. Going to YouTube chat now. Derek H. says, yo, what up, yo? Garrett Ashworth says, where is Sean Murphy from Bama going? So, Garrett, I don't necessarily guess where people are going unless I have a source. And then I'm not guessing. I'm just reporting what my source tells me. So unless I have a family member, the player, a coach, a coworker, roommate, whatever, reach out. I don't try to guess where people are going. If you've ever seen me make a post and I say where a particular player is going, I don't miss. It's because I have sources, and I don't make other guesses. So Sean Murphy's going to a new team. I hope it's a good one, and I hope it's one that wants him, but I have no idea where he's going. Colorado's getting scary. I don't think they're getting scary. I think they're getting equivalent to some of the teams they're playing against. They're not getting scary. They're getting equivalent to the players or to the teams that are on their schedule. Do you think Noah Fafita will enter the portal with Fish leaving? I believe the players are pretty pissed right now. They're going to rally around. If they can sign their defensive coordinator back, okay, if you didn't know, Arizona's defensive coordinator just left. He went to go be the defensive coordinator at Texas. He used to work for Sark. If he comes back to be the head coach at Arizona, then I can foresee the team staying together. If he doesn't, oh my God, I think the wheels are going to fall off. We'll see what happens. I think everybody's going to disperse. I switched apps for you to answer the question. I know you see it. DHRN, I don't know what you're saying. I just saw that one question. Please don't spam anything. I felt the same way. Mr. Michael New York says he felt the same way. I'm assuming he meant with the confidence. The whole Alabama staff is getting replaced. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Whole new staff coming in because you need to have position coaches that believe in you. You know, I once took over, let me tell you guys this. I once took over a failing company. I was a first sergeant in another company. Think of a first sergeant as, if you're not familiar with the Army, think of a first sergeant as the head coach of a team. And I got hired to be the head coach of a team, and I was doing my own thing. And then I got word that there was another team out there failing miserably, and they just fired the head coach. A first sergeant got relieved, which is a pretty big deal. So the sergeant major reached out to me in an email and said, hey, Rico, I know you're in your seat and you wanted to do that for 2 years, but I need you to leave that team and everything you've built over there, and I need you to come fix my company. I need you in my company. And I said, oh, man. And you know what the difference is, guys? The difference is I was wanted. I was wanted. My sergeant major, when he sent me that email, I gave him a call, and he said, Rico, I need you in this other company. And we were in different brigades. We didn't even work together. He just said, hey, I heard about you. I think you're the guy for the job. I want you over here. That day, for me, is in the top 5 greatest days of my military career. Because I can remember going home, making the decision, I'm going to go take this opportunity. I'm going to go work in a company I've never been, go work for these people that I know of. They know of me, but we don't have this close relationship. We just kind of, we're known commodities, right? And I showed up, and the first day, I sat down with my platoon sergeants, who think of them as like offense and defensive coordinators and position coaches. I sat down with them, and I recognized right away they were toxic. They were anti-team. They were set in their ways. They wanted, dude, I fired all of them. I fired all of them. Within the first 90 days, I got rid of every one of them and replaced them with a very eager staff sergeant. A very eager 12-year staff sergeant who was stagnant but wanted more in life. I vividly remember all their names. They're all sergeants first class today. They all got promoted. We became the best company in the whole damn unit. It was amazing. Just dominated the world. And you can do something so great when everybody's bought in. When everybody's rowing in the right direction, your boat's going to go somewhere, right? We were all bought in. It was awesome. And it's because I hired my people. It's because I placed my people in charge. It was different from everything else. So I think college coaches, when you get to a new team, it's not about friends. It's about maintaining your job. And you need to go in there and just let them all go. Hit the reset button. Got to go. I don't want to hear, oh, we're going to keep him on staff because he knows the pipeline really well. We're going to keep him on staff because most of the players like him. Nope. If most of the players like a particular coach, cool. Let's get rid of most of the players then. We got to find people who rock with us and believe in us. This is my regime. I'm going to be known for this for the rest of my life. Like, you got to understand, these coaches are fighting for their livelihood and their assistant's livelihood. You don't ever want to have a guy on your staff that's going to be your replacement. Let me make this clear. You get fired, and they go and hire the defensive coordinator after you got fired, that's a terrible feeling, man. Because they should have fired everybody. You guys were all in this together. They should have fired everybody. And you see some coaches do that. You see some coaches walk because their position coaches are fired. We're all in it together. So I like it, man. I'm cool with it. I want Alabama's whole staff to get replaced. That's fine. I hope DeBoer becomes his own entity, has his own era, the DeBoer era. I hope it works out. Rod Moore is coming back for his senior year. Okay. How do you see the linebackers that Wisconsin has brought in fitting into their defense? You know, year one, Bobby Albright, year one, they're going to be great. Here's the thing. I actually have some notes on it because I feel like Wisconsin has really addressed their linebacker core. They did not like Jordan Turner this year. Jordan Turner was their starting linebacker. They didn't like his lack of speed and coverage, so they went ahead and got rid of him, right? And we're talking about Tressel, Mike Tressel, Jim Tressel's son. So Tressel comes over from Cincinnati. He's used to having very athletic linebackers. He shows up, and all you got is Jordan Turner, who can't cover anyone, and you're very disappointed in your linebacking core. So this offseason, Wisconsin has signed so many linebackers that it's so many that to the point where I'm going to come to this list, and I'm going to come across a name here in a little bit, and they probably took him off the list because he wasn't committed until last night. Yeah, they don't know. The recruiting websites don't know. But there's a guy named Josiah Galvan. Josiah Galvan was committed to Wisconsin, and I was going to rate it one of the worst decisions as a linebacker to transfer to Wisconsin because the amount of linebackers they already have and the good ones they already have, right? I'm saying Tackett Curtis ain't starting. I'm telling you that some of these linebackers transferring to Wisconsin aren't good enough to start because of how many linebackers they have that are just bona fide studs. It's incredible. I love what they're doing. I love the kids they found. Leon Lowry, John Pius. We'll see what Cheeks can do. Cheeks is going to be on the outside looking in, if you ask me. But Wisconsin has found 4 linebackers in this transfer portal cycle, and they're all upgrades from what they had last year. Expect Wisconsin's linebacker core to be an asset to the team instead of a liability, the way it was this year. So I'm really excited for Wisconsin at the linebacker positions. They look great. Probably the best linebacker class is Wisconsin. Number 2 is probably South Carolina, which is crazy because they've been just grabbing anybody they can. But South Carolina is probably number 2 among the linebackers. Number 1 is Wisconsin. I'm writing this down so I can remember. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Number 3 linebacker class, Arizona State is number 3. Those are my top 3 for linebacker classes, just so you know. But I really feel good about the Wisconsin linebackers, Bobby. I know you're a diehard Wisconsin fan. You ask me about every position group with them, but there's some good guys in the room there now. This is gonna be edge linebacker or just as well. So Brady roster, it all depends. Some of the edge players are obviously covered under defensive line, and I had that podcast just a couple days ago. So you can go back and watch that one if you're looking for certain guys that are labeled edge. They get thrown on the defensive line roster. This is mainly linebackers in a 4-3 defense as opposed to a 3-4 defense. It's not how I do it. It's how they label it. So, yes, I'm aware that some of these guys on this list that are labeled edge, like Cassius Howell, there's no way he's not a linebacker, right? He's a linebacker. He's little. He's 220, 230, but it's just the way they do it. There's John Pius. I keep talking about him as a linebacker, and he's an edge. They label these guys edge. They are in the defensive line list, so I leave them up there. But, yes, these are just, quote-unquote, linebackers. Good question. Sorry for the confusion or lack of clarity in that regard. Buffs, are they adding depth or finding new starters with the portal as of today? Who do you see as starters for the upcoming fall? So, Campbell, I believe Colorado Buffaloes have added an immense amount of starters. Now, usually at this time of the year, I can tell you how many starters they've added, but I've decided to do a different approach this year. Last year, I guesstimated how many starters were found in the transfer portal, and I was pretty good. I had pretty good numbers. I don't know if I can find the chart right now. I'm going to double check something. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm clicking around real quick. I got to go way back, and I don't want to hold up the show. I'm sure it's here somewhere. Let's see if I find it. Ooh, those are Colorado players. Nope, this is not it. So I have a chart from last year. I'll find it right now. I just took it off my desktop because it's from last year. And I'd have to click around a little bit till I find it. But what it is it's all the transfer portal players. And one of the columns I have from last year is projected starters gained. And I feel like I'll be much better doing that after spring ball than doing it right now. So Colorado themselves found a ton of starters in the transfer portal. Found a ton of depth. I think every transfer portal player they signed this cycle is an upgrade from what they have on their roster. So remember, you were terrible. You found a bunch of players that were better than your terrible players. And now this offseason, you found even better players. And that's what happens every single year is you just keep cascading northern upward if you're a good coaching staff. And I hope that that's what they continue to do. I can see a marked improvement in the caliber of player they're signing. They used to get leftovers in the transfer portal, leftover Power 5 players. Now they're just getting bona fide studs. It's pretty cool. Shout out to them. I played JUCO ball in L.A., but I'm originally from Washington. What up, Tyreek Curley? You might get sick of seeing my name, but I won't stop. Whenever you do watch the film, I just want my name to be remembered. Tyreek Curley, I don't care if you badger me. I will eventually tone you out, zone you out, tune you out, and keep doing my job. My job is pretty simple. If you want to get on the radar with me, it's not by spamming requests and letting me know and keep seeing Tyreek Curley everywhere. I'm a man of my word. You make donations, I go to the highest bidder. My time is valuable. People who make donations get their videos made, and I put them on. I get them on the platform. That's it. There's no magic to it. I don't just magically stumble onto a kid's tape and go, oh, my God, I found this guy. He's amazing. That's not how it works. That might be what I say in the video because I'm a content creator, but I'll tell you how it works. People pay. I'm out here to make my money. This is what I do for a living. Shit ain't free. Someone's got to pay for my steak and Miss Kim's vacations. Arizona's running back just hit the portal. Here we go. Lots more to come from Arizona. Yep, I already talked about it on Twitter. You guys got to follow me on Twitter. Once again, the Twitter name is RicoKnows TikTok. But if you go up here and you go to Twitter, simple as that. You go to my profile. Last thing I talked about is Jonah Coleman right here. You won't miss anything. Hey, Rico, what do you think about Matthew Sluka going to UNLV? Hey, Rico, what do you think about Stevie Rocker going to, Montana? Jeremy Bernard hit the portal. I already talked about every single player. You guys just don't follow me on Twitter. I've given a take on everything. You see me scrolling? All this is within the last day. This shit says last 20 hours. This is the last day. This is not 24 hours. 22 hours. We still, you're missing all this information in the last, and now we got a day. So get to Twitter. Throw me a follow. RicoKnows TikTok. All one word, RicoKnows TikTok. It's right there. There's only 2,400 of you. One day, there's going to be 240,000 of you. But right now, there's 2,400. I just started 2 weeks ago. We're here to take over the world. You know what we do. You guys know my track record. Shout out to you. LA Southwest football, my freshman year, I got first team All-State. I don't want to be average. Then don't be. Nolan Ziegler from Notre Dame to Central Michigan. Thoughts? Garrett Ashworth, I'm actually going to talk about him later in the show. He will be one of the linebackers I touch on, so I don't want to steal my thunder when I get to him. I hope you're watching the show all the way through and you hear what I have to say about Nolan. So thanks for asking. Should Auburn target a quarterback in the spring portal? That would all depend on what quarterbacks are available in the spring portal, but this is not a quarterback episode. We only talk linebackers. Thoughts on Oklahoma's first season in the SEC? They're returning basically all defensive starters. Yeah, I think they're poised to have a pretty decent season. Arizona players, yep. How many players can a college to have it besides the 85 scholarship players? As many as they want to have, I vote. There's really no limit. You could theoretically have up to 200 if you get double numbers for every single person, one on offense, one on defense. There's no limit. You can have other walk-ons and things of that nature. How many deployments? One official deployment, been overseas 4 times. I started doing combat tours, and then they're just hazardous duty assignments. I no longer was in deployable units after my one deployment. I got out of ForceCom for the latter part of my 20 years. The last part of my 20 years, I joined cyber, and we did international cyber missions where we traveled on NATO orders to various places. So, yes, one deployment, but that wasn't the worst of it. The other trips were much worse. It is what it is. I feel validated. I'm good. Oklahoma is the new Nebraska in the SEC. I don't agree at all, Joseph Villon, unless they fire their coach. If they fire their coach and they start chasing better coaches, then they would be the new Nebraska. Remember, Nebraska, when they got to the Big Ten, was 9-4 every year under Bo Pelini. They fired Bo Pelini after Frank Solich. They fired Bo Pelini. They got impatient, and they hired Callahan, and from then on, they had terrible coaches. It's about listening to boosters and over-evaluating yourself. The worst year that Tom Osborne ever had as a head coach of Nebraska, he was 9-4, his worst year. That should have been their standard, and they should have been okay with their coaches going 9-4. But instead, they were under the impression they should be 11-1 every single year. So they started firing good coaches and hiring bad coaches, and that's what happened to Nebraska. It wasn't because they went to a tougher conference. It wasn't because of anything other than the boosters and the fans not knowing how to evaluate their success properly and not studying history. Something I've done immensely, right? Rico, what do you think of Thomas Castellanos? He's not a linebacker. Texas UGA or the Ohio State best teams next season. Congratulations. Thoughts on Corey Flagg heading to Missouri? Likely won't start. Yeah, so I talked about Corey Flagg in the first episode of Linebackers. So you can go back to the first episode. Corey Flagg is currently ranked number, I'm checking right now, currently ranked number 10 on my worst draft positions or transfers, my worst draft transfers. He's number 10 in my bottom 10. So it's a pretty bad decision for me. I'm not a big fan of Corey Flagg. Limited athlete, couldn't keep the starting position at Miami, and we knew that going in. You think Alabama will finish in the top 25 with the new coaching staff overhaul? I really don't care, Ivo. I don't do assessments like that. When does my top 25 for next season come out? August. I know Goldberg isn't a transfer, but he's a beast like his dad. Congratulations. What about Goldberg's son? What about him? He's not a transfer. That is a recruit. I don't talk about I don't really care about recruits. He's never gone to practice. He's never made a tackle in his life. I don't talk about recruits. Do you think Harbaugh leaving may be something he regrets in the future? No. Think he's after being great at every single echelon. Why would Washington coach leave when he just made it to the playoffs? He didn't just make it to the playoffs. He made it to the national championship. Why would he leave? He left for money. You get paid. It's a dream job. Any FCS receivers you think are NFL caliber besides Ty James? This is not the episode for it. I'm only talking linebackers, guys. Sorry. I'm going to get back to the list now since you guys have lost sight of what the hell you're supposed to be talking about. So let's go look at quarterbacks and see, or I'm sorry, linebackers and see who's there. Let's look at this list. I got it up on my monitor here in front of me. So the first guy is Tackett Curtis. Yes, he is 6'2", 225 from, where's he from? Manny, Louisiana, small school. One thing I'll say is he played at a small school in high school, and he looked like an amazing player in high school because he tackled everybody. He was a thumper, and he was better than everyone. I think he belongs at ULM. Tulane at best. I do not think the recruiting website's got it right. You're at USC. The defense is terrible, and you can't even start there. So 40 tackles in your time at USC, congratulations. But you're leaving USC when Matt Entz is about to come in. This is an amazing linebacker coach, former head coach at North Dakota State. Danton Lynn, defense coordinator, just came over from UCLA, and you're gone. It doesn't make sense to me. Go to Wisconsin. You're not better than Jaheim Thomas. You're not better than other guys on the roster. I don't know. Maybe one day, but not today. And what's crazier about it is, even if he does eventually become good, I don't think it'll be at Wisconsin. I think he transfers again and goes to Ohio State. I think he transfers again and goes to Ohio State someday. I think he transfers and goes to LSU someday. But there's a reason LSU's not calling him every time he gets in the portal. He's a Louisiana kid. They're not calling you. You're not good. I already talked about Chris Paul in the first episode. Here we are at Demetrius Knight, leaving Charlotte, going to South Carolina, as you guys see here, 6'2", 247. Okay, here's what I don't like about it. His ratings increased just because he committed to South Carolina. You guys see it here. They gave him one extra star. They have to tell you they get one. But I'm telling you, I pay attention to this chart and these ranks every single day. I have a database in front of me that I rank all the players on. My ranking is based on that ranking. So when I log in one day and I check my list and compare it to this list and they don't match up, I know that they moved something. I know that they changed something. And it's crazy because they changed 3 linebackers in the transfer portal. 3. And 2 of them are South Carolina commits. They just increased them. Demetrius Knight and Bengali, when he comes up, just got increased. Bengali Kamara, they won't say he got increased, but he did. They went and raised the rating of Bengali Kamara and Demetrius Knight when no one was looking. So now they can be like, well, South Carolina, they got. And I think they got some great linebackers. I like Bengali Kamara. I just don't like when you change the ratings because a guy's going to South Carolina. That's not cool. But Demetrius Knight, complete stud. So coming out of high school, Demetrius Knight was a dual-threat quarterback. Shout out to Rock Christian here in Georgia. Dual-threat quarterback coming out of high school. Looked good. Went to Georgia Tech. Played a little bit of quarterback, but a whole lot of linebacker. Ended up with 25 tackles at Georgia Tech. Said, I can't play here. I'm not getting the playing time I need. So he transfers to Charlotte. I'm going to go play for Biff Poggi. Playing for Biff this year, 96 tackles. Leads the team in tackles. 5.5 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions. He's so athletic. He's a dual-threat quarterback. He can read the pass plays. He knows the routes. 6'2", 250, out there flying around. I think he's an NFL caliber player because of his coverage skills. This is an honorable mention, top 10. It's not a top 10 signing, but it's honorable mention for sure. And congratulations to South Carolina. You found what you need at the linebacker position. Pretty cool. Next guy, I already talked about all these guys in the first episode. Next person on the list is Jaheim Thomas, my number one linebacker in the transfer portal. Hands down, 6'4", 240. Jaheim Thomas, they give him 3 stars. This is a 4-star kid coming out of high school. Out of high school, his father also played at Cincinnati. He went to Cincinnati. He stayed home in Cincinnati. Turned down LSU, turned down Ohio State, said, I'm going to go to Cincinnati and play for a coach I believe in. Shout out to Luke Fickell. And he played out of his mind. It took him about a year to make the starting lineup, start getting in there, getting his playing time. Jaheim Thomas started doing his damn thing. It's pretty incredible. So he was maybe second or third in tackles on Cincinnati. Coach leaves. He jumps in the portal last year. Everybody goes, oh, he's going to Wisconsin. Of course. He didn't go to Wisconsin. He went to Arkansas. In the SEC, he led Arkansas in tackles. Remember, this guy led Arkansas in tackles, 90 tackles. He's the best defender on Arkansas. 24/7 wants you to think this guy going to Ole Miss is the second best linebacker in the portal. And they will announce it like that. Ole Miss just signed the number 2 linebacker in the transfer portal. No. He is nowhere near as good as this guy down here. There's alpha males. There's dudes who walk in the room and dominate. Jaheim Thomas is him. This is your guy. And Jaheim Thomas going to Wisconsin, linking back up with his old coach, linking back up with his old defensive coordinator. He will be the starting middle linebacker for Wisconsin. He is an NFL caliber player. Go turn on the tape. Problem, bro. 6'4", 240. Problem. Flies around, does everything right. Bengali Kamara, 2-year starter at Pitt. 6'2", 230. Had his ratings increased. Shout out to him. Went to East High School out of Akron, Ohio. I thought he was going to end up at Cincinnati when he was leaving Pitt. I thought it was going to be a lateral move. He went all the way up, bro. This is a man who played in 48 games at Pitt. He's Pitt tough. I know Pitt's going to miss him. It's a damn shame, and that's another good signing by South Carolina in their linebacker core. Okay, another good signing. I already talked about Cooper McDonald in the first episode, Jordan Turner first episode, and here we are, Stone Blanton leaving South Carolina. This is a good kid. He's not bad, but he's going back home. He's from Madison, Mississippi, so he's going back home to Mississippi, going to go play for Mississippi State. Congrats. I'll say this. When you watch his high school tape, he looks elite. And most Mississippi linebackers look elite on their high school tape. It's hard to tell whether or not they're going to turn out okay. That's what happened with Lowe and Keys. I'm talking about some quarterbacks, Gatorade All-Americans, blah, blah, blah. But when you go turn on the tape, they dominate the competition. And it's because Mississippi has so many small towns, so many small high schools, that when you're good, you can just show up every Friday and just beat whoever's across from you. And it's really hard to tell. Well, Stone Blanton's convinced he's an SEC player, and he's going to Mississippi State. He's going to play in the SEC. How dare he go over there and not play for Southern Miss? That ain't happening. I'm not playing for Southern Miss. They're scrubs. I'm going to play for Miss. Okay, congratulations. Feels like a lateral transfer, but you're going home, so I can't blame you for it. I'm not excited about it. Xavier Carter leaving UNLV, going to UCF. This is the number 1 worst transfer among the linebackers. And remember, my bottom 10 list has, for every single position group, quarterback. Who was the quarterback? He saw the list and said, I'm out of here. Oh, it was Fife. Fife transfer from Fresno State to Minnesota. He saw my bottom 10 list. He saw he was on it. He said, I got to get the hell out of here. I'm not going. Running back. It was Howland, running back, going from Indiana to Minnesota. He saw his name on the list. I'm out of here. I'm not doing it. Wide receiver, who was it? Bottom 10. Every time I write somebody in the bottom 10, they jump and they leave. They change their mind. And we already had one at linebacker, okay? He's moved to Stanford, but he's not here on the list anymore because he just switched to Stanford today. But if there was ever a guy that needs to switch, it's Xavier Carter. Xavier Carter going from UNLV to UCF. Look, this is a kid who's 6'4", 210. He has a tough time keeping weight on. 6'4", 210. He's super skinny. He plays edge. It says linebacker, but he tries to rush the quarterback at 210 pounds. What are we doing? He's a bona fide tweener. Hapeville charter, straight out of Georgia. I've seen him play his whole life. And I get it, man. Ernie Sims is out here saying, I can do this. I could make these guys better. Ernie Sims is the linebackers coach at UCF, by the way. And you can't. So, look, there are 2 linebackers right here going to UCF. What this tells me, when you see stuff like this, I see patterns. When you see stuff like this, any linebacker committed to UCF is going to get this rating right around here. This is where they rate the UCF transfers. They keep them the same usually, and it's just crazy to me because these are very bad transfers. Both of them. Both of them. X-Ree, this dude X-Ree down here. X-Ree Alexander and Carter can't play football at this echelon, and they're going to UCF. I'll never understand it. Carter, he went to LSU out of high school. LSU. And it's because they told him he was a 4-star player. And he can't get off it. And I'll never understand it. 18 games at LSU, 9 tackles. 9 tackles in 18 games at LSU. So then you transfer to UNLV this year. They had an amazing year, right? UNLV had a great year. They won so many games. It wasn't because of this guy. Xavier Carter, they got an LSU transfer. 2 starts, 14 tackles on the whole season. In 2 starts out of 11 games, 14 tackles this year. Nothing to write home about. Nothing great here. I don't get it. And then you go and transfer to UCF. I can't play at UNLV, man. I'm going to transfer to UCF. Let me ask you guys this. Did anybody pay attention to Harrison Bailey this year? Harrison Bailey, UNLV quarterback. Couldn't start at UNLV. Backup quarterback. Hits the transfer portal. This is a kid who transferred from Tennessee to UNLV. Hit the portal one more time and then went to Louisville. Like, what are you doing? You couldn't play there. You couldn't play at LSU. You couldn't play at UNLV. Why the hell are you transferring back to a Power 5 school? It's the worst transfer I've seen. Number 1 worst transfer I've seen. Letting you know now. This one right here. Key Thompson going from Ohio to Pitt. Stud. This is number 5 on my top 10 list. He is a 3-time All-MAC linebacker. First team this year. Stud. He's Pitt tough. He's ready. Ready right now. The only problem with him is coming out of high school, these morons gave him 2 stars. And that's why when they improved him, they gave him an extra star to be a 3-star. That's how bad the recruiting services missed on this guy. You want to talk about me missing on a guy? How about you miss on a dude, you label him 2 stars and say he can't play football, but he's been at Ohio, by the way, for 5 years. He's now one of the best linebackers out there. And yes, Pitt lost. Who did they lose? B, right? They lost B. Where is he at? Bangley. They lost B. Cool. You go and lose B. Bengali, my bad. And you replace him with Key. Key's a beast. Key got a mortgage and 3 kids, y'all. He's a grown man. He's been around forever. I'm excited for this move. I can't wait to see what they do with him. But that's a good linebacker signing. I'm excited for it. Alexander, no. No and no again. Once again, I don't know what they're doing. They just offer kids because, like, people don't understand. This is a Washington kid. His father and his brother played at Washington. He's got a brother that plays at Arizona State. I saw him hit the portal, and I thought, okay, you're leaving Idaho. I guess you're going to go to Arizona State and play with your brother? I expected it a preferred walk-on. He's not good enough to play at Arizona State. You know where he's good enough to play? Hawaii. He should have went to Hawaii. If he went to Hawaii, I would be celebrating this move. I really would. But this is a kid who had 29 tackles this year at Idaho. Guys, if you don't know, 29 tackles ain't Power 5. 29 tackles? I watched the tape. You don't pop on tape. You're athletic. You run around a little bit. Yeah, most 215-pound linebackers look athletic. You damn wide receiver out here playing linebacker. I get it. Terrible move. Terrible. It's in my bottom 10. Sebastian Cheeks fighting with that bottom 10. So he's fighting it. Him and Flag are at the 10 spot. I haven't decided who I want to go with. So welcome to Sebastian Cheeks, former 4-star kid coming back home. Congratulations. Coming back home. Well, back home I say he's from Illinois. But coming back to the Midwest, you couldn't play at North Carolina. Sebastian could not play at North Carolina, and this is what I don't like. In 2 years, he played in 11 games. So now you're following Phil Longo? Because Phil Longo left Wisconsin. You might be familiar with some of the position coaches. You might be familiar with some of the guys on the team. I get it. But you're not good enough to see the field. You couldn't start at North Carolina. You know where you can't start? Wisconsin. These kids don't understand. This is a Power 5 to Power 5 transfer, and you're not very good. He's not going to see the field this year. I don't know if anybody's told him, but he's not going to see the field this year. And then he'll have 2 years of eligibility left, and he'll transfer to Illinois. Watch him. And just keep wasting his eligibility. When this kid should be at Ball State. Sebastian Cheeks is Cheeks. He should be at Ball State. Cheeks and balls. Ball State. Keshawn Elliott, complete stud. Loved everything about Keshawn Elliott. His high school tape looks terrible. He's from Richmond, Missouri. His high school tape looks gross. It's bad. It's recorded bad. He's bad in it. He doesn't tackle well. I watched it and was like, oh, I'm underwhelmed. But if you watch New Mexico State football this year, and all the MVPs did, Keshawn Elliott is him. 111 tackles on the season, dominating all over the field. And he's great. And he's another quality signing by Arizona State at their linebacker core. They got Zires, and I already talked about him in the first episode. But in the first episode, I told you guys, Keshawn Elliott's one of the best transfer portal, or one of the best linebackers I've seen, not in the transfer portal. And during that episode, go back and watch the first episode. During the episode, somebody in the chat lets me know, hey, Rico, Keshawn Elliott just entered the portal. As I said it. As I said, this kid would be one of the best linebackers in the portal. He jumped. And now when he jumped in the portal, at the same time I was saying it, it's pretty damn cool. He started getting offers from everybody, and now we're looking at Arizona State. It's pretty awesome. I love it. Geronte Davis, the worst signing in the portal. Did I say the worst? It might be the second worst. Yeah, it's probably the second worst. Second worst signing in the portal, going from A&M to Louisville. Don't like the move at all. I think after watching tape, he did nothing at A&M to warrant a signing to any team. I didn't understand it. He had 6 tackles this season at A&M. You blame whatever you want. Blame injuries. Would you want to sign somebody who's injury prone? Lack of ability? What are we doing? Geronte Davis, he looks the part physically. Coming out of high school, goes to Hutchinson Community College. Congrats. Right? Doesn't move me. Goes to Middle Tennessee State. Congrats. Then he goes to Jackson State. Then he goes to A&M. And now he's at Louisville. What kind of journey is this kid on? I'm not on the same journey. I just don't see it. 6 tackles at A&M, and you get to go transfer to Louisville? It's dumb. And some of these Louisville linebackers who left the school, I guess he just added depth, replacing them. Because I'm not impressed by any of this. Never. Not impressed. Josiah Pierre, leaving Texas Tech, going to UCF. Of all the UCF transfer linebackers, you see it here. Carter, Alexander, Pierre. I'm going to go out on a limb right now. Pierre will have more tackles than these two guys. Probably more tackles than them combined. And Pierre will be the starter. I know he's ranked lower on the 24/7 list. I'm letting you know this guy right here will be starting for UCF over these other dudes. These other dudes won't even be there. Xavier Carter, Alexander, no. I think Pierre will be the starter. Mark my words. Now, I've been watching Pierre for a while. Okay, straight out of Florida. Initially went to Florida, coming out of high school. Then transferred to Texas Tech. Been at Texas Tech for 34 games. Never popped on tape like I wanted him to. But I know he's better than these two guys. I assess talent for a living. I don't know what these coaching staffs do the same thing I do for a living. And a lot of them are fired every year. I'm not getting fired anytime soon. Like when everybody talks to me and they write to me and they're like, hey, Rico, you think you know more than so-and-so? I sit here and I go, yeah. I think I know more than that coaching staff. Those guys do this job and get fired at it. They know the players in their little region. You got no business signing some of these players. Are you watching the same tape I am? Because for some reason I'm going, no, you got it wrong, bro. And I'm right. Go back and watch all my transfer portal videos from last season. Just go to the playlist and watch them all. I got a whole playlist where I'm evaluating transfer portal classes, and ain't nobody stepping to me. No one individual can even contemplate what the hell I'm saying. Collectively, there's no chance. Zero. Dumbass signings. Josiah Pierre probably going to start for UCF. I'm still not in love with the move. It's still an underwhelming move. For him, it's a lateral transfer, if you ask me, but he is from Florida, so he's coming home. One of the worst signings, I talked about it on the first episode, Youngstown State, Alex Howard, very experienced linebacker at the FCS level, going to Texas A&M, very underwhelming. I don't think he's an SEC caliber linebacker. Dumb. Duh. But they only have one linebacker at A&M with any pro or any game experience. So they need somebody. All you guys thinking these recruiting classes of 4- and 5-star players are good enough to play on Saturdays, they're not. They're just kids with some stars that a website gave them. They can't play, and the coaches know it. So this is why the coaches go out there and sign a player like Alex Howard. They go, man, that guy's better than anybody we got in our locker room. Oh, but Rico, we got 4 and 5. Yeah, I know. Spare me the details. Keep bragging about these dudes up here. These 4- and 5-star dudes you have, while the team keep bragging about this Xavier Sori dude, while the team will go down here and sign somebody else to start over. It's the reality of life. It's crazy to me that you guys even think a recruit is better than players who have been practicing and lifting weights at a university for multiple years, unless you think those universities can't develop players. Talked about all these guys in the first episode. No need to bring them up again. I think I'm on Cameron Wilson. Let's talk about a terrible decision being made. Cameron Wilson leaving Louisville, going to Cincy. First and foremost, he's going where he's wanted because he knows the Cincinnati coaching staff. That's who recruited him to go to Louisville, so congrats. But in 4 seasons at Louisville, this is a young man with 14 tackles. 4 seasons, 14 tackles. You can't play at this level. Let's be real. You can't play at this level. 4 seasons, 14 tackles. Why are you not transferring back home? That's what I want. Why aren't you going to Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Kennesaw State? Go back to Georgia. Oh, by the way, Cameron Wilson is from Georgia, Mount Zion High School in Georgia. Why are we doing this lateral transfer? Just because you know the coach? You're not good enough to play there. Terrible decision. It's on my bottom 10. Not good enough. Oh, there's Josiah. Now they have him at Stanford. Oh, my God. Are you guys ready for this? Look where they dropped him in the rankings. They dropped him so far because he's going to Stanford. There's a kid way up on the chart. I'll go back and check my chart. Josiah. Oh, I guess they left him. Oh, they dropped him further. Holy smokes. No, they raised him. They raised him because he was below Octavius Brothers. Do we even see Octavius Brothers on here? Well, we don't even see Octavius Brothers on here. He was below Octavius. There it is. He was below Octavius Brothers. I got it on my chart, bro. Look. I'll show you guys. Here he is below Octavius Brothers. Now that he's going to Stanford, they move him way up. Way up. That's... Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. He was going to go to Wisconsin, and he was never going to see the field because there's other players. Leaving UNI, he played well, Northern Iowa. Played well, but it probably suits him to go to Stanford instead. I'd imagine Wisconsin started signing all these other linebackers because they knew they weren't taking Galvin after all. So once they dropped him, they started signing more. They didn't tell me. I'm sitting over going, man, these are terrible signings. These are terrible signings. Well, we don't have that Galvin guy. I'm like, okay then, never mind. We're okay. All right. Joseph Vaughn is the next one. All these other guys were in the first episode. Joseph Vaughn leaving Yale, going to UCLA. I always find it underwhelming when these Ivy League kids go to UCLA. What are they doing? But you're probably a rich kid. He's from San Jose, California. Probably went to Archbishop Mitty, a private school. Probably comes from an affluent family. I'm just being real. Just keeping it real. Never really did much at Yale until this year. One-hit wonder at Yale. He had 88 tackles this year, nothing before. I swear to you, nothing before. But he's first team all Ivy League. I tell you guys every single time, being first team all Ivy League doesn't mean a damn thing. There's 8 teams in the Ivy League. If you're first team all league, that just means you're you're one of the best out of 8 people. He is one of the best linebackers out of 8 middle linebackers. Congratulations. 88 tackles, 3 interceptions, pretty athletic. Went and watched the tape. I'm like, yeah, that's not a UCLA linebacker. But apparently he is. I'm not the guy doing the assessments. Corey Thomas, going to be added depth at Virginia. You'll see he won't start. Michael Batten, that's an amazing move right there. Hey, that's a studly move. Just wait till he's starting for Houston because he can play football. Wait for that one. But we already talked about it. I want to talk about Jackson Branton real quick. I already talked about those guys on the first episode, by the way. That's why I'm skipping them. I want to talk about Jackson Branton. I talked about him in the first episode kind of loosely. I didn't really touch on it. Muscle Shoals, Alabama. This is an Alabama dude. I went back and watched his high school tape. 6A lineman of the year. Looked big and fast, dominant. And I think he walked on to Alabama to start his college career. Couldn't see the field, obviously. It's Alabama. So he finally got realistic about his ability. Transferred to UAB. He's at UAB this year. And, guys, he did well. 70 tackles for UAB. He must, and now he's going, if you don't know what that symbol is over there, that's North Alabama. I think he must not like the coaching staff, got into some mix with Trent Dilfer. I don't know what. But this dude has played at 3 different Alabama schools. He does not want to leave the state of Alabama. Jackson Branton he must have kids in Alabama he don't want to leave, bro. He's not transferring anywhere outside of Alabama. More power to him. He's a good player. I think he's dominant. I think North Alabama got themselves a stud. They got a local stud. Pretty good stuff. Keith Brown, terrible transfer. Terrible. I'm telling you guys right now, this is number 4 on my bottom 10 list. He's leaving Louisville, going to Washington State. I don't think kids understand that you can play at a non-Power 5 school. You can. There's no reason for you to go. By the way, he started his career at Oregon. He left Oregon, went to Louisville, and now he's going to Washington State. He has played nowhere, guys. 12 plays, 11 snaps, something like that. He's done nothing. In all his time in college, he has played on no fields. This is an Oregon. Wait, did he go to Oregon State? No, he's an Oregon State wrestling champion. He's a wrestling champion. He looks good on the mat. I think wrestling's essential to football. I was a wrestler in high school. I think it helped me immensely when I played football. I think it helps you with leverage and toughness and grit, and you're in shape. You're strong, pound for pound, one of the best dudes around. What are we doing? Why are you not going to Eastern Washington? You can't see the field. Why are you not going to Idaho or Montana? You want to play in the Big Sky Conference? What are you doing? Go to San Jose State. Stop wasting your time. I don't think he's going to play for Washington State. I don't. I think it's a terrible move. I really do. These lateral moves like that, you couldn't play for Louisville. You're not better than the Washington State linebackers. I want you to know. Now, Donovan, I'm almost to the end of the list, and I'm going to get back to the chat here. Donovan Westmoreland leaving South Carolina. I think this is funny. He's going to Kennesaw State. He's doing what I just talked about. He said, the hell with this shit. I ain't fighting for playing time no more. This is a young man from Griffin, Georgia, got 3 years of eligibility left, and he's not fighting you no more. Even when App State gave him an offer, he said, no thanks, App State. No thanks. I'm going back home. I'm going to Kennesaw State. And Kennesaw is about to move up to the FBS level. I think it's a great move. I love the move. He played in 7 games as a freshman, Donovan did, and then this year got pushed back down to 2 games. Lost his starting position or lost his ability to contribute as a player. He redshirted this year. So he's got 3 years of eligibility. I'm going to go home, bro. I'm going to Kennesaw, and I love it. I applaud it completely. Shout out to young men who understand their talent level and then go play where they're wanted. And I guarantee you he's desperately wanted at Kennesaw State. Coolest shit ever. 6'1", 234. Go do your thing, Westmoreland. I'm going to check the stats at the end of the year, and I'm telling you right now, we're going to see who has more tackles. Keith Brown at Washington State or Donovan Westmoreland at Kennesaw State. We're going to find out who gets more playing time. Who made a better business decision right here? We're going to find out. Nolan Ziegler leaving Notre Dame, going to Central Michigan. Already had a question about it in the chat. Here's what I'll say. I don't want to drag the young man. He is 6'3", 234. But the reason he didn't pan out at Notre Dame was because of mental health concerns. Whether that be depression, anxiety, being homesick, whatever it is, you got to understand that if you're not ready mentally, you can't be committed physically. And if you got to get home, be closer to home to do those things, then more power to you. This is a very athletic kid. He's a hometown hero. Remember that. He's Youngstown? No. He's from Grand Rapids. Nolan's from Grand Rapids, so he's really coming home. Should have stayed home. But, when you are a state champion superstar in high school, carried the team on your back, all that stuff, and you want to be able to tell everybody on campus, I'm going to the big school. I'm going to Notre Dame. I'm going to go to USC. I'm going to go to Alabama. You want to brag, I'm playing for Clemson or Georgia, Texas. When you can get the same education, if not better, at a smaller school, you can get the same college football experience, if not better, when you're on the field. You don't have to leave your high school sweetheart. You can still see your parents on the weekend. Whatever it is, whatever you're struggling with, I think it's important you find the situation that's most advantageous for you. So, with that being said, Nolan Ziegler, great move. It's in my honorable mention. And I fully expect this man to hopefully get his head on straight, get focused, get what he needs counseling-wise or whatever, and go out there and do great things in the MAC. Central Michigan got themselves a player. Remember, Central Michigan head coach Jim McElwain, former Florida head coach. He is a Power 5 caliber head coach. He knows what he's doing, and Central Michigan has a decent team. Like when we watch them play, for whatever reason, they don't win games, but they're talented. They're good enough. They're in games. They'll surprise you. They won what, 2 games this year that really surprised us? Go back and look at the results. I think they blew out South Alabama. I think so. Did something impressive, and they played really well in a game for about the first half. But Nolan Ziegler, hopefully you get your second chance in your college career, and you don't blow it. That's all I can say. Luke Fulton. Luke Fulton ain't playing with you. Luke Fulton's been at Kentucky for a while. He's tired of being on the bench. So he's transferring to the very worst team in the FBS, Kent State. The worst team in America. I told everybody they would be the worst team, and they didn't let me down. And now they got themselves a linebacker from Kentucky. Now, we don't know how good Luke Fulton is. He's from Ohio. He's from Youngstown, Ohio. And he's a former 4-star guy coming back home. But in his years at Kentucky, 3 years, 2 tackles. So we don't even know what this guy can tackle. He got 2 more tackles than me, and I ain't left the crib. Like, we don't know what he can do. But I'm excited for Luke Fulton. Congratulations. I'm going to do about 2 more on the list, and then we're going to call it. I think I'm going to stop at Zach down here. My bad. I want to stop at Zach. So, did I already do Damian Wilson? I got to double check if I did Damian Wilson. I did him on the first episode. I did. First episode. All these guys on the first episode. I think we're down to Mejia Pastor. Yeah, we're down to Mejia Pastor and Zach Marshall. So Mejia Pastor, love what he's doing. He's going down to Bethune-Cookman. Guys, I'm going to make a video on Bethune-Cookman. I want to make this very clear. Bethune-Cookman, if we go to their transfers, I'm going to open it up. You can't select them here. You can't go to school and select Bethune-Cookman here. But you can do this thing where you can see their transfers. And right now, Bethune-Cookman's transfers, you see it, all Power 5 guys. Right? All Power 5 guys. Well, 3 Power 5 guys, 2 Group of 5 guys. But Courtney Reese, a running back, has been at UNLV forever. Orrin Patu, solid. He was a transfer from 2 different Cal schools. Sean Russ, leaving Arizona State. Like, Bethune-Cookman's cooking, bro. I like it a lot. And now you go get Mejia Pastor. Mejia Pastor's tired of not playing football. That's all there is to it. This is a kid who signed with Cal coming out of high school. Signed with Cal. Went to Cal. Couldn't see the field. All right, I got 10 tackles at Cal. No, 25 tackles at Cal. I'm going to go to Colorado State. Went to Colorado State, 10 tackles. Nothing. Still couldn't see the field. So I'm done messing around with this FBS stuff. I'm not an FBS player. I'm 6'2", 225, but I'm not an FBS player. Let me get the hell out of here. So there he goes. And he's headed to Bethune-Cookman. I hope he can play at Bethune-Cookman because they're a very bad team. They're very bad. The worst of the worst when it comes to FCS, HBCU type teams. They're not good. Just keeping it real. And then Zach Marshall, I want to give him a shout out. This will be the last guy before I go to the chat. Leaving TCU after 5 years. This is a 3-time state champ in wrestling. 3-time state champ in wrestling. He used to wrestle at 215, 225, or 220 because they get 5 pounds at the end of the year, but 215. And the thing about Zach is he's just never gotten a chance to play at TCU. 5 years, 20 tackles. But he's being realistic. He's from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Half of his highlight tape, his huddle film, is on Tulsa's field. You can see the Tulsa logo on the field because he was in the state title game. So I love kids being realistic, going back home. He probably should have signed with Tulsa out of high school. But once again, one of those stellar kids who wins a state title and wins a 6A state title with Broken Arrow and decides, I'm going to go to TCU. Well, you wasted 4 or 5 years of your college eligibility at TCU. Congratulations. But here you are. Come home. Go play for Tulsa. They need you. It is what it is. So that's where we're at on that. All right, those are all the linebackers I wanted to cover in this episode. Yes, there are about 50 more committed to schools. Remember, or 25 more committed to schools. I talk about commitments. So there are still some available players. I'm going to go to the chat here shortly. But let's go to available or uncommitted is what I should say. Uncommitted players in the portal at linebacker. Theoretically, these are all the best linebackers. Now, I'm going to tell you, Kendrick Blackshire's here, leaving Alabama. Ozzie Nichols, I think I talked about him before. Ethan Barr, I definitely talked about before. I guess Nikhil Green just decommitted from Charlotte because I thought he was already committed. The best player on this list is Ethan Barr. So far that I can see here, and I haven't scrolled all the way down. But Ethan Barr is the best available linebacker in the portal. Don't get it twisted. This is the kid leaving. He's not leaving Washington. He's leaving Vanderbilt. He was a linebacker at Vanderbilt this year, transferred to Washington for 24 hours, and now he's at Washington. The reason they have to put this is he's actually enrolled in classes at Washington, so he'll have to finish the semester. Doesn't matter where he commits to. He's at Washington for the rest of the academic semester. That's just the way that goes. But there's players in here. People are going, oh, Rico, tell me about Sean Murphy. You guys know these players because a recruiting website said their name. It's not anything they've ever done on a Saturday. Like even Avery Huff, I've seen him. He wants to go to Colorado. This is a former 4-star kid, been at Miami for multiple years, finally transferred to FIU, still couldn't see the field at FIU. Why the hell do you think you can see it at Colorado? Well, because I'm a former 4-star. They're going to talk about him like he's a 4 or 5-star kid. Ra-Ra Dilworth, 4-star. He's already committed somewhere. This is false. So Ra-Ra's committed. I got him on my list if I go find it. I know Ra-Ra's committed. I talked about it already. I don't want to have to search through all my database. Daniel Hamili. These are all just recruiting misses. Recruiting misses is why they're 4-stars. Jamari Button, former Penn State, couldn't start at New Mexico State. They still think he's 4-stars. These are the type of guys, and I hate to break it to some of these guys. I'm letting you guys know this, okay? These are the type of guys that die in the portal, never get signed. How do I know? Because I saw all the same guys last year. And when I say last year, when I say the same guys, recruit or character concerns. Rico, there's an Ole Miss linebacker. Character concerns. This is why they're not on any teams. Some of these guys, just not very good. But I thought I saw. You didn't see what you thought you saw. And I will go through all these guys by the end of the year. There's Manny Nunnery. Oh, there's a Florida transfer. Rico, we got to get a Florida transfer to Colorado. No, we don't. That's a backup from Houston that should have never been in Florida. You got to know their origin. You got to know who the players are and be realistic about what they're bringing to the table. A lot of these players aren't better than the linebackers on your favorite team. Just keeping it real. Texas UGA, got it. Back to the chat we go. Sorry, I'm here now. By the way, Callahan was before Pelini and after Solich. There you go. That tracks for South Carolina. What are your thoughts on transfer linebacker Stephon Thompson from Syracuse to Nebraska? Nothing really. snaps. I've seen Nebraska try to improve their position groups, and I think they're doing okay. I really feel like Nebraska's settling for consolation prizes this winter cycle. I'm going to be curious to see what happens with them in the spring and who they bring after spring football, because they need to have a more assertive effort of grabbing guys that they want. And I don't think Stephon Thompson was a highly coveted guy that they wanted. I think it's somebody that they just kind of, we got a leftover, we got an extra guy to add to the room. And listen, teams are responsible for one thing. Coaches are responsible for one thing, improving their final 85. You improve your 85, we don't care if they see the field or not. I saw a quarterback get offered to Florida yesterday, and he took the offer, the Millen kid, from Colorado State. Clay Millen, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You can't start at Colorado State. But you taking the offer to Florida? Well, yeah, he's better than Florida's third-string quarterback. He's going to back up DJ Lagway. Right? You got Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway, and now you got Millen. That works for Florida. They want 3 quarterbacks in the room. Doesn't work for you as an individual. You're never going to see the field again in your college career. It's nuts. But the kid's making a poor decision. Coach is doing the right thing by just trying to find better players than the ones he has. At any echelon, that's what you have to do. So that's how I feel about Stephon Thompson. Nebraska's just finding players that are better than what they have, not necessarily starters, just better than what they have on the bench. Hey, Rico, I asked you a long time ago about a kicker. What makes a good kicker? I want to play Division I, but took a gap year off to work on my skills. Oh, you want me to talk about kickers? I think what makes a good kicker is if you can kick it out of the end zone for touchbacks. I don't know about anything else. I think you should always go for it on 4th down, and I think you should go for 2. That's how I feel. What are your thoughts on Dorian Singer going to the Utes? Does he make Utah a Big 12 favorite? Not a linebacker question, the wrong episode. You might want to talk to me on my wide receiver podcast. That's not today. You can go check the Twitter if you want my assessment on the Dorian Singer signing. You know of any camps I can send my nephew this winter and spring that plays linebacker? He is entering his senior season of high school, fall, from Indiana. Yeah, so Ivo, I haven't done this. I'm going to do this on live, okay? So what you want to do is just go to Google. You're from Indiana. You want to go to Indiana football website. And then when you go to Indiana's football's website, right, and you go there, you're going to see their camp. And you go in here. Let me find it. Well, are we on football? We're on football. You just click around until you find their camp. Recruit tickets. Well, that's not it. There will be camps posted in here and their camp schedule. And you will find where you need to go. That's how you do it. You go to school websites and check when they're hosting a camp. And everybody's got a different camp. Check their Twitter. Follow their coach. He will have a camp. All the stuff is in here of when they're doing their camps. High school, JUCO coach tickets. You got to find the right stuff. But this is where it's at. You follow their social media. They'll always announce their camps in here. Here's the football schedule. Let's see if they have their off-season schedule. This is just their games. Yeah, you'll find their camps at their websites. That's what I would recommend you do. Comb all the websites and look for their camps. You could even search in here and just do Indiana football camp. And I'm just saying Indiana. You could go to any school. There it is. Indiana football camp. But look, it's in July. That one's July 24th. And this is how we're doing. And this is what you're doing. Now, this was back in 2016. But you get the time frames. Go to latest. Somebody will let you know when their camp is. You just have to keep looking for it. You got to actively search around until you find what you're looking for. Kids will announce that they're attending camp. That'll let you know when you're going. But coaches really announce it. So I would recommend you do that. Go to school websites. Thoughts on Michigan next year. And remember, I said go to school websites. I didn't say anything about on-3 camps, 24/7 camps, NUC camps. If you don't know NUC, N-U-C, there's a bunch of camps you can go to. But I'm telling you, go to the school camps. Thoughts on Michigan next year, whatever school you desire to go to. Thoughts on Michigan next year? Yeah, cool. They play in the Big Ten. Rico, do you need to keep an eye on the moves Tulane are making? You need to keep an eye on the moves Tulane are making. So when I look at every single transfer portal player sideline, I haven't missed a single player being transferred. Therefore, I know every move every school's making, not just a school. Like, I don't go search the page for what school. I'm not sitting here doing that. I don't do that until after spring. So after the spring portal, then I'll start clicking on this tab and looking at individual teams and start doing my assessments. Then I'll be like, all right, what did Boston College do? And go down the list and see who they have coming in, right? This is it, latest, and then you can go to school. I'll go to Boston College, and I can see everybody who departed, everybody who entered, and I'll do my plus minus and all of my stuff, right? And it's really important I track it this way, but I do it through about 4 different websites because 24/7 is not accurate, On3 is not accurate, Rivals is not accurate. None of them are accurate. You combine all 3 together, you might get a better picture of what's accurate. The most accurate thing are school press releases, and I have to do searches for those. Local newspapers, school newspapers, they're also more accurate than any of these websites. I trust none of these websites. They're not accurate. They're just missing everything. I'll find an error every single day, maybe 100 times a day. So I don't miss any moves, though. Jaron Thompson to Auburn, congratulations. That's a defensive back transferring. What I'll tell you guys is I will be talking about that move in my defensive back podcast. That's coming up in a couple of days. I might wait a day, maybe 2 days, and it'll get done. Rico, how much do I need to Cash App you to get my nephew linebacker film out to college recruiters? He has 1 year left of high school. Football this fall. 6'2", 215, and a 4.3 GPA. Ivo, Cash Apps, Venmo, whatever, all of that is kept private. It is kept private out of respect for people, and it's kind of a little game on our end. So all you have to do is donate whatever you're comfortable with, and then when the waiting list shows up in one of my high school film reviews, you will then know where you stand on the waiting list. That's how that works. So certain days, let me tell you this. You want to get the video made? Certain days, $100 will get you to the top of the line. It really will. And then some days it won't. And that's the reality of the situation. So when somebody donates like $5, $10, it's like, cool, thank you. You're on the waiting list, but you're just going to be there for a while. People are going to keep passing you. Tomorrow somebody might just throw 40 at it and 40 at it. If I go to bed at night, last night I went to bed, woke up, and somebody cut the line, yes? Kim knows this. Kim keeps track of the waiting list. So before we go to bed, we talk about what we're doing the next day, and I strategize my day, very organized. And I say, okay, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to make 2 of these, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And when I was doing that, had it all figured out, went to bed, woke up this morning, and Kim goes, hold on, somebody cut the line. And that means we got a really big donation from one of the parents. Remember, these kids don't have the money. The parents will cut the line. So for you to say you got a nephew that you want to get shine to, you can cut the line. Do what you want to do. Now, if you send $20 and you think that video is getting made in the next hour or two, you might just need to sit back and wait for that wait list. There are approximately how many people on the waiting list? 70? Somewhere around 70 people on the waiting list. So go figure. It's a long list. I only make about 2 a day. Good luck, Ivo. I hope you get your nephew on. I'm here all day. You can see the pinned video for the links. It's on TikTok. Make the donation. The video gets made. There's not one disappointed customer. My guy Ziegler hoped he would stay at Notre Dame. Was some dogs at linebacker coming in and still on the roster. Jalen Sneed. Yep. No room for him. So, yeah, no room for him, but I think he was just dealing with some other issues. I thought he was a good player. So I was playing receiver as well at Central Michigan, which is wild to see. Thanks for going. No doubt, Garrett. Congratulations and shout out to your team. You talk about Sean Murphy. I don't talk about players who aren't committed to schools. Find the closest soccer team and train with them. Kicking fundamentals are the same, but learning how to strike a ball is important. Plant leg will dictate where the ball goes. Thoughts on Nevada's transfer moves? As of right now, Nick Giltner, they have cleaned up a little bit on all the players nobody wants. Let me just say that. I won't go into too much detail only because I'm talking linebackers and I haven't gone team specific, and I never will. I'm going to go conference specific later in the season. Like in the summer, I do nothing but conferences every single day. But Spencer Lovell, like this guy right here, just transferring, they say from Kansas, but he's really an Arizona State transfer. Shout out to him for showing up. That's really cool. Snoop showing up. They're trying to find the right players, and I ain't mad at them. Remember, last offseason, their transfer portal class was stellar. It really was. This year, it's a bunch of leftovers, but I think they'll be improved better than they were. Pat Garwo is him. As long as he's healthy, this was a good running back at Boston College when he's healthy, but he's been injury prone. So I've been excited for Nevada, but I don't think it's going to change the results, not for a while. Thoughts on Tulane? Hey, you got a great coach. Figure it out. Played soccer. Keep an eye on Tulane moves. They're making waves for sure. Pun intended. What do you think about Jalen Wester? What do I think about Jalen Wester? I made a video on Jalen Wester during the football season a while back. I think Jalen's a pretty good player. This is the younger brother, LeJontay Wester, just transferred from FAU to Colorado. I think Jalen's a good player, but he's a little undersized. He needs to keep lifting weights and get bigger and stronger. I don't think he's an every down linebacker. Not at all. But he should be contributing to the field immediately. And if he stays at Colorado, he has a chance to be pretty good in about a year or two. That's the fact. What do you think about USC's new defensive staff after cleaning house? Very improved, Tobiah. We'll see what happens with the results, but very improved. Thanks for the video about DK. That's my dude. I don't know who DK is. Who's DK? DK Metcalf? Who's DK? Is DK some initials I don't know? Did you look at UMass recruiting class? I've looked at every single player. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. Like when you guys come in here and ask me stuff like that, it's crazy. It's crazy. Do you not understand? I just fucking I just went through like I can't even let me be accurate. I have gone through 78 inside linebackers. You think I haven't looked at a class from a school? That's crazy. Thoughts on Kentucky's linebackers? Very underwhelmed, but they have a good linebacker coming from the transfer portal. There's no other way around it. When you get a starter from Georgia, you cannot deny how good that is. You just can't. And it's a good thing for them. The problem is not their linebacker play. It's just not. The problem has been their quarterback play, the inconsistency of the play calls, not utilizing all their skill players. But on defense, DBs are bad. Defensive line was straight, was good enough. The linebacker play is not the problem, and it's good. Jamin's going to show up and do his thing. You wait till you guys see Dumas Johnson actually playing at Kentucky. He's good. No problem. Kicking, how do you feel about OU football heading into the SEC? Feel pretty good about it. Shout out to Jackson Arnold. What level should Shaz Preston, the Bama wide receiver, target in the transfer portal? This is a linebacker episode. I haven't really assessed where Shaz should go. And you know what? I try not to. I try to assess after they sign whether or not they're at the right spot. I don't try to project before they commit or before anybody says anything. Like, I give it time, man. Give it time. Let's figure out what's going on first. But Shaz has never been a guy on my radar where I'm like, yeah, a team needs him. Like, that's never crossed my mind once. Not once. Just keeping it real. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I know it's playoff Monday or something. I know the games are starting soon. I'm going to let you guys go. I don't watch NFL, but this will give me time to start making some TikToks for the next hour before you guys start watching the game. Remember, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace.
If you ain't on my level, fuck it, let me be. I'll be going till it's all in motion. Talking killing rappers, then I hit my quota. And my train of thought is more a locomotive. Talking reason for it, I got locomotives. Used to be on a revenge tip, on a stun on my ex in a France tip. I was Spider-Man whipping the black suit. I was powerful but almost lost Luke. Blurring the line between human and artist. Try not to change, but I swear it's the hardest. I swear when you're up, they turn you to a target. Home was a trip, all I did when I'm talking. So, what it take to be an icon? All in your desktop, so I just might already be one. My me with the label, it feels on the table one time, but I'm down for a free lunch. Just speaking my heat-seeking missiles of hits, but other than me, I see no heat exists. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green. Go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me. Know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee. Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a Cold War, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, green, green. I'm about to go green. I'm about to go green. I'm about to go green. Get the fuck back, I'm about to go green. I might begin making a feature a rack. Cause when I hit your beat, I turn shit to Iraq. Dropping bombs like I'm cursing you out. This your house, then I'm kicking you out. Quiet as a mouse, came in the game, not a word is out that I've been lighting the flame. Shit is potent, don't you know it? I've been flowing, steady growing till they know the name. Saw it ahead of time, knew that I'd get to my losing myself in the view to some window pane. I swear I'm all about peace, I'm a positive person. Wasn't always like that, you know it took me some learning. They asked me how I push a positive light, how I keep my composure through internal fights when addressing the mic through these dark nights. Where the Bruce Wayne, what a trick me. Here's some truth that I'll let free, Bruce Banner of rap if you ask me. When my will to win and the track meet, the secret is I'm always angry. Yo, gassed up, I'm about to go green. Go green, go green. Hulk smash if she know me. Know me, know me. Write it to life like I'm Stan Lee. Stan Lee, Stan Lee. If life's about to be a cold war, I'm the hero that they asked for. Green, green, green.